What is up? And welcome back to another episode of the Wizards podcast, home of the 1-10 in NBA Cup play Washington Wizards. You heard that right. The Wizards have won an Emirates NBA Cup game. I know that all of you guys listening care deeply about the roots of this tournament, and that's a really big deal. But in serious terms, the actual big deal is that the Wizards have won a basketball game for the first time since October 24th. What is that, a month ago that they won in Dallas? It's their first home win since April 2nd of I guess of this year, but last season. It is, like I mentioned, their first Emirates NBA Cup win in 11 tries. A lot of firsts in a while and ever tonight for the Wizards. And realistically, this was the first time this season that they looked like a dominant NBA team. And I'm not saying they're dominant by any means, but even the worst teams in the league have these nights where it's their night. Tonight for the Wizards, it was their night, in a game where they probably should have beat the Chicago Bulls the other night on Saturday. They blew that game like they had most of these games. And the same thing happened tonight where they got out to an early lead. They played fast, dictated the pace in the first half, and they were playing really well. The difference tonight is that they sustained that for 4 quarters. It's been rare to see an effort sustain, against Minnesota. The second half, they were a lot better, but wasn't enough. Against Chicago, they played well for 2.5 quarters. The last 1.5, they did not play well. But tonight they sustained it. Atlanta mounted. They were down 29, brought it to 13 in the second. But then the Wizards just completely ran them out the gym from that point on. Didn't even let them sniff a comeback from that point on. And just another unbelievable performance from the Wizards. Like, I thought they played really well in Chicago and deserved to win. They didn't. Tonight they get the job done. They improved to 2-15 on the season, snapped their 14-game losing streak, win for the first time since October 24th. Wizards win. What was the final? 132-113. A couple phenomenal performances, but you got to start with CJ McCollum. I mean, 46 points, and they tried they tried it at the end. They left him in when the game was obviously out of reach. They tried to get him to 50, didn't work. Keith pulled them with a couple minutes to go, which I honestly think was the right move. But CJ finishes with one of the most efficient 40 plus point nights I've ever seen. 46 points, 17 to 25 from the field, 10 of 13 from three. He legitimately couldn't miss. He started 4-4. Him and Gisbert combined started 8 of 8 in the first quarter. 5 boards, 4 assists, was a plus 19. He had a great game in Detroit. What do you have, 42 there in that overtime loss? This was easily, obviously, his best game of the season. It's the efficient buckets in rhythm that you really expected from CJ, and throughout the season, like, he's gotten better. I don't know if it was just acclimating to a new environment, new system, new team, new city, but you've seen from the first game till now, he's just miles ahead of where he was, which is nice to see that he's kind of finding his stride. But CJ legitimately couldn't miss tonight. A real joy to watch. Like, he just gets to his spots, and he was just making some unbelievably tough shots, especially from the outside. Atlanta threw everything at him, and they had no fixes. So really impressive, especially against the Hawks. They're the 10th best defense coming into tonight, and the Wizards dropped 130 points. CJ had nearly 50. Just really can't say enough about him and the progression. Because look, I'll call it as it is. He was really bad. The first couple games of the season, he was shooting them out of games. He was not playing well. And I was sitting there confused because in the preseason and before the season, I was like, this is who I think CJ can be. And he showed that tonight. He showed it the last couple of games where he's been phenomenal as of late. So shout out CJ, clearly the best player tonight, was awesome on the offensive end. Another guy you got to mention shooting wise. I mean, Corey Kispert injured his thumb late in the third, didn't return. It's not the thumb that he had surgery on this offseason, which is a good sign. Hopefully he's back because he's been playing his best basketball of the season. Coming off 20-point night against Chicago, he started again. He had 16 points in the first quarter. I believe he was 4-4 from three. Just could not miss, was getting to the rim, getting fouled, finished with 19 on 6 of 11 from the field and 4 of 8 from three, so cooled off a little bit, but was still a plus 23, had 3 steals and a block. That was, like, you can take the Corey shooting, and it's like, yes, this is what we expected. Thank you for hitting a more efficient clip from three, getting to the rim. The defense the last couple games, honestly, call Corey Kispert what you will on defense. He has been good. And he's not just been like, oh, they're not going at him. He's not a liability. No, he's like been a plus on the defensive end lately, which is saying something for a guy who I don't consider to be a great defender. But he's buying in. He's giving that effort, and he's in the right spots. He's jumping passing lanes. Just can't say enough about him either and what he has done. That's 19 points, 20 points last game, above 50% in each of those games, shooting well from three steals and a block tonight, plus 23 as a starter. Loved what he's doing, and like when Corey's making those types of shots, like transition threes and off the ball screen threes, and then he's using those pump fakes to get to the lane, get fouled, put on the deck, because that's another element of his game that he's developed. That's when he's at his best. That's when you say, okay, like I know why Will Dawkins extended him. That's why he's making 13 a year, because he can do stuff like that. When he's on, and the last couple of games he's been on. So again, same with CJ. Like for all the hate that Corey Kispert gets, and I wouldn't say there's hate on this podcast. Like I said, I don't really hate on players. Like I think everything I say is pretty respectful. At least I try to make it that way. If I'm gonna call out a player, it's going to be statistics or analytics based. And I was not happy with the way Corey was playing early in the season, especially because he was taking like two, three, four shots a game. Sometimes just making one. Not the other night, a couple of nights ago, I think against Brooklyn, he was 0 of 4. Didn't play the second half. But that's because I know what he can be. And it's nights like this where he has 19 and he has an electric first quarter against Chicago at 20. Like that's the Corey Kispert that the Wizards need. Not necessarily to like win games because that's not the goal, but that's what they need moving forward. Like if he's going to be a part of this future, he's under contract for 3 years after this, I believe. He's got to be showing this a lot more often than he does. It can't just be 2, 3 games here and there and then he disappears. Like this needs to be pretty consistent. So hopefully the thumb injury isn't too serious and he can continue to play this way, keep that momentum going. But those two guys were awesome. Like I said, it's both the combined. I think I had 28 points on 8 of 9 from three in the first quarter. The Wizards led by a lot. Like they were the driving force in that, and so big reasons the Wizards won right there from their two guards. Alex Sarr again. I mean 27 on 11 of 15 from the field. For a guy, like I'll just say this, for a guy that the biggest knock on Alex Sarr after last season was that how are you 7 foot and you're shooting sub 40% from the field? How is that possible? It was completely valid, a fair knock on his game. No one was saying anything about his rim protection. No one was saying anything about his potential. They were just saying you need to be more efficient. And Wizards fans were saying, yes, it's because he takes 5 to 7 threes a game. It's because he fades away or does a Euro step every time he goes to the lane. And it's because he's just simply not strong enough to body his way down low and score in the interior. He has no post game, no moves, etc. All of those things he has not, I don't say fixed, but he has solved those issues at least through 17 games this season. He has solved those issues. 11 to 15 from the field is phenomenal, and my favorite part about that, only 2 of those were threes. 15 shots, only 2 are threes. He's not taking as many threes this season, but when he takes them, he's making them at a rather efficient clip. I think he's probably around like 40% this season from three. Again, 27 points, and that was from everywhere. Like made a three, got to the line. That was the one knock on his game tonight. 4 of 8 from the line. You can't give those up. But 11 to 15 from the field. Like he got in transition. He had some emphatic dunks. He had some putbacks where he just went through his defender. Had a transition layup where he just went through. It was a small there. He probably would have like faded away in recent years or last season at least. Went right through his body. Had a nice turnaround. Like he was scoring from all 3 levels. He was doing it efficiently, letting the game come to him, not letting threes fly. And that's why he's being so efficient. That's why he's 11-15. That's why he's shooting 55+% from the field this season. That's why he has improved. The Wizards fans have been asking and asking and asking, just please play like you're 7-1. And he's finally realized that through a couple games this season, which has been a revelation. It's been great. Another great performance. Another knock on him was the rebounding. Like he averaged, 6.5 rebounds per game last season as a 7-footer that started and played 30+ minutes. That cannot happen. This season's been completely different. Like tonight, 11 rebounds in 38 minutes. On the season, he's averaging 8.5 rebounds, so that's 2 more rebounds than last season. He's averaging 5 more points per game than last season, more assists. He's shooting, where's the regular season totals? He's shooting 50% from the field and 35% from three, which again, it's not like, wow, that's unbelievable. But for him, it's a jump by 3% in 3 point percentage and a jump by 11% in field goal percentage. Up rebounds, up points, up assists, blocks, two a game. Like, he has been everything that the Wizards asked him to be. And he's been their best and most consistent player through their first 17 games of this season. The jump from his first year to his second year, um, I expected a jump. I didn't expect it to be this quick or this big of a jump. But he's figuring it out. He hasn't figured it out yet. There's still some growing pains. Like there was still a couple layups tonight where I thought he faded away. But even the rim protection, like he had 2 steals and 2 blocks tonight. He's averaging 2 blocks a game on the season. Was a plus 30, which was the best on the team. So the team, which is better, obviously defensively, there's some statistics that suggest his rim protection is among the tops in the league, which makes sense. But even like I had someone, if you're listening, you know you are, that was commenting consistently. Like if you look, you would think Alex Sarr, if you're watching the game, has 5 to 6 blocks, but they only categorize it as two. Like he has so many plays where he's just altering shots. There was one play where Dyson Daniels dribbled into the paint. You thought he had a wide open layup, and Sarr was just standing there, and he dribbled the ball out. It's the same thing that people do with Wemby in the paint. And I'm not saying that Sarr is like Wemby level yet. Like Wemby's on another level. But it's the same fear that, oh, if I go in the paint, like he's looming. He's lurking somewhere, and I gotta always be cognizant of that. So even if he's not recording that many blocks a game, he's affecting shots. He had a couple really nice, strong contests that forced some misses tonight. Even when he's not blocking or contesting shots, people are a little bit fearful to challenge him in the paint, and that's always a good thing for your defense, especially for your anchor of your defense. So Sarr was phenomenal tonight. Another guy that won't be talked about a lot is Chris Middleton, but I thought, honestly, he played his best game of the season. Finished with 10 points on 3 of 8 from the field. Like, that's not going to jump off the floor for somebody that you expect to be a scorer. But he had 9 first-half assists, finished with 12 assists and only 2 turnovers. Like, he was passing out of the post, passing out of the pick and roll with Sarr, with Vukcevic. He was doing that really well, dictating the pace and running the offense. Had 7 boards as well. Was a plus 34. Actually, stand corrected. He was the best plus minus instead of Sarr. But you can just see, like, that was the Middleton last year. That was the reason the Wizards were 6-8 in those 14 games, which is a better 6-8 than they were, obviously, the rest of the season. He played within the flow of the game. He got his teammates involved, and honestly, I thought he played his best game of the season. Like, I know he scored above 20 a couple of times, but like just eye test watching the game, and then you look at the box score, he is the best plus minus in the game. It checks out the way that he was, setting up teammates, limiting turnovers, getting to his spots. He actually played good defense. Like, he had multiple deflections, had a steal and a block. It's the same thing with Corey. Like, these two guys aren't like all-world defenders, but the last couple of games, especially tonight, like they anchored down there. And like I've said, like the Wizards are at their best when they play any semblance of defense. They have now, I think 113 is probably the third lowest total they've allowed this season. The other two were to Dallas, 107 and 111 in their one win and in their one loss. And Dallas is one of the worst offensive teams in the league. So that's not saying much, but it's saying like they've won 2 of the 3 games where they've held opponents below 115 points. Like, there's clearly something in that to say defense is what's going to win this team games. So that's why it's disheartening to see when this team is playing so poorly and they're losing by 30 points. It's like, guys, like you didn't even have Keyshawn George or Bagley or Trey Johnson tonight, and you ran a good Atlanta team. They were 11-7 entering this game. They had won a couple in a row. You ran them off the floor. You played great defense. You dictated the pace and ran in transition. You couldn't miss from 3, which helped. But this is why it's so frustrating, because it's like this team is closer than they appear. They should be much better than they are. No matter how many games you lose, like you should be more competitive because of efforts like this where it's like, where did this come from? It's not like this just spawned out of nowhere, like, and it's a one-off. I don't think that's the case. Now, can they replicate their performance from 3? Probably not. I mean, that's outrageous. I mean, the thing is the most makes in a row to start a game in franchise history, 8 of 8. And it was all, I think, just Kispert and McCollum. But they're not going to shoot like they did. But nonetheless, they would have won the game anyway because of the way they defended. So hopefully this is not just like a one-off. They continue this momentum and play this type of defense. because that is what will, I don't know about win them games, but make them a more competitive basketball team, yo. So you hope that this is carried over. How about Bob Carrington? By no means is this Bob Carrington is back moment of the podcast because we probably talk about Bob pretty much every pod. And for the most part, it's been negative. As expected, he's been one of the worst players on the team, one of the worst defenders in the league, one of the worst net ratings in the league. He's not shot the ball well. He's turned it over way too much as a guard. All that considered, like this is a nice step in the right direction. If you're Bob, you're looking to stack these games, build that confidence back up. He played 22 minutes, by far the most off the bench. Finished with 10 points on 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 6 assists to 3 turnovers. I love the 6 assists. The 3 turnovers not good, but a 2-to-1 assist turnover ratio for Bub is actually not bad. And the turnovers were just bad passes. Like he can fix that. It was a +4. I can't tell you. I don't know if this is the first game that he's a plus in the plus minus category this season, but it's got to be at least one of them. The team was better when with him on the floor. I thought he got to his spots, hit a couple threes. I liked this performance from Bub. I thought he played under control, and so hopefully he continues that. Didn't force anything for the better part of the game. So again, you're gonna have your ups and downs with a guy that's as young as Bub and has played as bad as him. But this is a positive. This was a nice result for Bub. So I was happy to see that. Most of the bench, apart from like Champagne, who played 17 minutes, Whitmore only played 10. Vukcevic played 10. Branham with 9. Riley and Watkins got 3 towards the end of the game. I think Watkins actually appeared at the end of the third, maybe, for defense. But nonetheless, like the bench didn't play a lot because the starters were just unbelievable. Like all of them were at least a plus 19 or better. Koulibaly, 9 points, only took 2 shots, was a plus 29. I thought he defended phenomenally. 2 steals and a block for him. Made 5 of 6 of his free throws. Like in the beginning, his only 2 field goals were 2 dunks early in the game. But I thought he was aggressive and got to the line, which I liked. Had some nice moves in transition. The one thing, and I said this the last time, he's played 4 games, I believe, since his second return from injury. And he's taken exactly 6 shots in all 4 of those games. That's got to be doubled. Like you need more from Bilal. And tonight, I understand it just because the way the game flowed and, other guys had it going with McCollum and Sarr and Kispert. Like, I get that. And he was aggressive. He got fouled a lot. So I thought this was a better game than the other 3. But you'd like to see him, take some more shots. And the 0-3 from 3, not ideal, but I'll live with that. Like 4 assists, 3 boards, plus 29 on the night. I thought Bilal played very well, especially on the defensive end. So no complaints there from me. We do have to talk about Tristan Vukcevic because he was their worst player tonight. And honestly, the last couple games, he's just been really bad. They've had some injuries. Sarr missed those 2 games. You had Marvin Bagley, who has now missed the last 2 games. And so Tristan was filling in for Sarr. Now he's filling in for Bagley. You knew that this would be the case because they only had 3 centers on the roster, that you would need to call upon Tristan, even though he's a two-way. And so far in limited minutes, he has not produced. When he came in the game, the Wizards had built that 20-plus point lead, in the first quarter. I think when he exited, they were up 13, so clearly not good when he was on the floor. Only played a short stint after that, but 10 minutes, 7 points on 3 of 4 from the field. Again, the offense is not the issue, but just 2 boards in those 10 minutes. Like they got beat pretty bad on the offensive glass when he was in 2. Was a minus 11 in those 10 minutes with 3 fouls. It's not good enough right now. The offense is one thing, but if you can't defend your spot, you're getting bullied down low. You can't rebound for your size and position. You're out of position. You're fouling too much. Like you're just. I don't. This is gonna sound harsh. I don't think Tristan Vukcevic is an NBA center right now. I don't. I think that he can be. He's only 21, I think. But once Sarr and Bagley are both healthy as a tandem, like let him play in the G League. He's got to get a lot stronger. He's got to get smarter, especially on the defensive end, and he's got to get a lot better. And so hopefully that's the case right now. But he's just not been good. And Brian Keefe has to play him. Like that's you can be as mad as you want about Keefe for certain things, but you know what else do you want him to do? Play, 33-year-old Anthony Gill, who hasn't played meaningful minutes in pretty much this entire season. So, did not like his performance. Cam didn't score, only took 1 shot. It was kind of a non-factor tonight. So that wasn't great, but again, like it's not like he was forcing anything. That might sound a little too like homery. But again, like I didn't think that Cam Whitmore was bad. He just didn't play a lot because the starters were awesome. So I can't really be too upset that he played 10 minutes. I didn't see it, but I had some people commenting about his body language being bad. Maybe that was the case. I don't know. I didn't see it, but he didn't play a lot. But apart from that, this was just an awesome win. Like this showcases that this team can be a lot better than their record shows, and that's like a good thing in this season. Like if the Wizards finish with 15 wins, you're like they could easily add 25. No one's gonna be mad. If anything, you're gonna be like, nice, like nice. They lost 10 more games than maybe they should have, which is only gonna help them out. Like what's crazy is for as bad as the Wizards have been, they've already had a 14 game losing streak in a season they've only played 17 games. And even with that, they are a couple wins away from being out of the bottom four record wise. Like they are 2-15, so is Indiana. The Pelicans and the Nets both have 3 wins. And then you got the Hornets at 4 wins, and the Mavericks and Kings and Clippers and Jazz at 5 wins. So like they've been really bad, but so many teams around them are so bad that like it's not the worst thing in the world that they are losing these games. Like in the moment, it's like, how are you losing that game to the Pistons? How are you blowing a 16-point lead to the Chicago Bulls? How are you blowing a 19-point lead to the Philadelphia 76ers when Embiid doesn't play in the fourth quarter? All of those considered, it's like, yes, they need to be better. They need to win those games. But like, let's say they won those games. They're at 5 wins right now, and I think a lot of Wizards fans on the other end saying, "Stop winning games. Like you need to bottom out. You need to keep this pick so you can maybe get a top 3 pick and get a franchise altering star." So like, there's always a silver lining I think with these losses, just as there is with these wins. So you can't get too high. You can't get too low in a season like this. You always got to keep in mind what the end goal is, which is to develop guys, but mainly to lose a lot of basketball games to ensure yourself that you keep that top 8 protected pick with a bottom 4 record. So far, so good, but like a little, a couple of these games sprinkled in there where like you beat Dallas on the road when no one thinks you will, and Keyshawn is 30 plus, or games like this where Sarr has 27 and 11 on 11-15 from the field. I mean, CJ nearly drops 50, and you dominate a Hawks team that most expected to come in here and dominate you. You win your first home game since April. Like, you got to have some of these wins sprinkled in there to keep fans sane, to keep the players, going, but to also kind of just showcase, like, okay, we have something here. These guys are developing and playing meaningful minutes, and they're winning basketball games sometimes. Like, you can't just keep losing and losing and losing and losing. So, the good thing is the franchise record for losing streaks remains at 16, at least for the time being. Like we've seen at least one 16-game losing streak each of the last 2 seasons. There's no saying that it can't happen again this year, but it ends at 14. Now going into the Indiana game that they play. I think they play Indiana on Friday after Thanksgiving. That's a battle of 2-15 teams. That's like the real tank bowl. I don't know what to think about that because like they still have Siakam and Nemhard. They're playing bad basketball, and they're also so injured. It's just kind of like a reset year. At least the Pacers got their pick back from the Pelicans. But that's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, like grand scheme of things, Wizards lose that game. It's probably for the better, distance themselves a little bit, also get Indiana a win to distance themselves. That's probably the best thing. But like, what? Let's say they win too. Like, why not? I know I'm sure a lot of you guys are rolling your eyes right now. But I don't think I think it's like a win-win. Like they lose, okay, that's a good tank loss and it moves them closer to the bottom four. They win and a couple guys play well. It's like, okay, like you would expect that if they won, a lot of their young guys like Sarr, maybe even Bub has another good game. Keyshawn should be back from his illness. But like I said, like they don't have to win multiple games in a row. That might be pushing it, but a win like this here and there is not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to hurt the tank, and it's sort of needed in a long season like this where you have just lost so many games that you should have won. Like I mentioned, they've had across that 14-game losing streak, they had double-digit lead in 6 of those games, and they lost them all. They had a 29-point lead in this game. Got down to 13, but I liked how they responded. I liked how they bounced back. Keith's always talking about we didn't respond well, and when we got down, we didn't respond well on that run. Like tonight, they responded well, so I'm sure he's happy with the performance. And so, can't be mad at a win like this. The team needed it. I think the fan base needed it. I heard Capital One Arena was actually pretty alive tonight from the people that were there. I know my friends Damo, Will Clayton, were at the game in a suite, and I know that a couple of you guys commented maybe maybe it's you because it was your first Wizards game of the season. I'm home for Thanksgiving now, so maybe it's just because I'm not at school that like they're actually winning games. We'll see if that's still the case on Friday, but nonetheless, a good win. I think a needed win for this team, this franchise, this fan base that was just so many heartbreaking defeats. Not for those who are just lose, 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 but for the people that are watching, you're just kind of sitting like, when are they gonna pull one of these out? Like, when are they gonna just put together a 48-minute effort? And tonight that was the case. So. CJ near 50, he was phenomenal. You got to hope Corey isn't out too long with that thumb injury. The good news is, like I said, a different thumb than the one he had surgery on. So that's nice. And then obviously a really good performance from Sarr, 27-11 on 11-15 from the field. So again, Wizards snap their 14-game losing streak. They improved to 2-15 on the season with a 132-113 victory over the Atlanta Hawks. Their next game is on the road at Indiana on Friday, the 28th, at 7:30 p.m. And then following that game, they'll be back home for one against Milwaukee. So a couple winnable games, especially with Milwaukee not having Giannis. We'll see how the Wizards fare, but definitely, nice to win one. It's always nice to win one, especially when you had to win an NBA Cup game in 10 tries. I know no one cares about the NBA Cup. I don't even think the players do. Like, they asked CJ about it post game, and he just kind of laughed. Like, I really don't think they care. But nonetheless, they finally won one. They're now 1-10 in the NBA Cup. They were the last NBA team to win an NBA Cup game, so no longer like too much of a laugh. They're still laughing stock, but not in that regard. But finally win that first home win since April, and first win as a team since the 24th in over a month. So I'm sure it's needed for the players and the fan base as well. Nice win for the Wizards. I'll be back on Friday to recap the Pacers game versus the Wizards, and that's going to do it for this episode. Wizards finally win one. Thanks for listening, guys. Go Wiz.